All right. So in Ross 12.3, that's really what number 2 is here on my screen. So this would be where we find Ross 12.3. Change the endings. And those endings are on that handout that I showed you. In effect, the endings are not too difficult to learn, are they? If we think about our ending, zero ending, what does it become? We'll put this over here, absolute construct. What does zero ending become in the construct? Zero, because there's no ending to change. What does Kamet's Hey become? Pathak Tav. Okay? Now there is also the possibility of Segel Tav. Okay? We're going to see that with some nouns. It'll take a Segelet ending, a Segelet pattern. But most of the time it's Pathak Tav. Okay? What about Im? The absolute masculine plural is Im. In the construct it's Sarayod. We call that the Canadian ending, right? And then Ot is the feminine plural. And in the construct, the feminine plural ending is Ot. So there's no change here, right? So the only two places that we have changes are these two, right here. The feminine singular and the masculine plural, okay? All right. Let's look at one other possible change that can happen. This one is not very common at all. And that is nouns that end with a segel hey in the absolute can become sere hey in the construct. Okay? Segel hey becomes sere hey. What are some examples of this? If I want to say something like Machane. Who remembers what Machane is? Okay, it's camp. You see the segel hey ending. That's the absolute form. But if I want to say something like the camp of God, Elohim, and I make this thing one in a construct chain, then what will the segel hey become? It'll become sere hey. All right? So that's the distinction. Segel hey to sere hey. These will be masculine singular nouns. Now let's talk about one more possible issue here. And that is when I have a noun that is not technically masculine singular, but it has no ending, what's going to happen? If you take a word like ear, is ear masculine singular or feminine singular? It's feminine singular, isn't it? Does it have a Kamet's Hey ending? No, it does not. So when I make it construct and put it into a thing one, thing two relationship as a construct chain, and I want to say something like the city of David, is there an ending that has to change? Is there an ending here? No? So will I want to somehow get a Pathak Tav or a Segel Tav over here? No. Zero ending remains zero ending. So what I've given you is the chart as if it were masculine singular, feminine singular, masculine plural, feminine plural, and the corresponding endings. But just remember, some nouns have what looks like a masculine singular ending, but they're really feminine singular. Some nouns have what looks like a masculine plural ending, but they are feminine plural. For example, what is the word for women? It's nashim, right? Nashim. That's the absolute. It looks masculine plural, doesn't it? But if I want to say the wives of Solomon, Shilomo, oops, I put a holum over here. Shilomo. Can I say Nashim Shilomo? I cannot. I have to make this a construct form. Well, what does Im become? Even though this is technically feminine plural, what does Im become? Yeah, it becomes Canadian, and it has to become Sarayod, right? And that's the ending change. I'm also going to get a change here, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But what would that become? When this becomes a construct chain, and this is thing 1 and this is thing 2, what happens to thing 1 in terms of its stress? It loses stress. We're going to treat it like it's unstressed, but that this whole thing is treated as one word. So where's my tone on Shilomo? Where's the tone? You know this. It's on the end. It's on the mo part, right? That's tonic. Shilo is pretonic. She is propertonic. Na is propertonic, and it's open. What does Hebrew do to open propertonic syllables? It reduces them to vocal shava. So I end up with not na she shilomo, but na she shilomo. Okay? So all of our noun rules and other things are going to apply here wherever they can apply. Okay? But right now we're just focusing on the ending. So nashim becomes nashe to make it construct. So this is technically feminine plural construct. You should most of the time think of the Canadian ending as masculine plural, unless there are those feminine plural nouns that happen to take a masculine plural ending, like nashim. Okay? Any questions about this? Ross lets you know, I didn't mention this the other day, I'll tell it to you, but for the most part we can disregard it because it's so rare to find these. The dual ending is ayam. Remember the ayam dual ending? The a is accented on ayam. So how would I say two hands? Yad becomes yadayim, right? A pair of hands, yadayim. So what if I want to say the hands, a set of hands, the hands of Moses? What if I want to put that into a construct chain? Well, here's good news. Yadayim, to make it construct, it becomes Sarayod. That is, it becomes the Canadian ending too. Okay? So Yadayim becomes what? What do you think? Yadeh, right? Ayam becomes a, Canadian. Yadeh. Now, the accent is going to be lost on the first noun of a construct chain, right? So what's your guess as to what happens with the ya part of Yadeh Moshe? Yeah, it's going to reduce the vocal schwa because my tone is way over here. Moshe, the mo is pretonic, the day is propertonic, and the ya is propertonic and open, isn't it? And it's going to reduce the vocal shava. That's my oops Ross vocal shava rule. So the hands of Moses is Yadeh Moshe. Okay? Yadeh Moshe. All right. So that's the change of endings. We really need to make sure we're tracking with this. So when I want to convert a noun to its construct state, then there's going to be two nouns side by side, one slapped right up next to the other. The first noun is the one that loses its stress. If there's endings, then I will change endings where they can be changed. And how many places can I change the ending? Just the two, right? And then I will change the vowels if the vowels need to be changed because I've lost the stress on that first noun. So there may be some situations where I need to change the vowels. If I've got historically long vowels in thing one, do I need to change vowels? Nope, because I can't change historically long vowels, right? It's only the changeable vowels that are going to be reducing as needed. So let's start walking through Ross chapter 12, 12.4. This is where we walk through everything. Okay, so 12.4. So this is on page 101. Okay, so page 101 in 12.4, 1 and 2, we can actually exemplify by using one word to do it. And I don't really want you to memorize these things. I'm just going to show you that you actually already know this, okay? This is what's so wonderful about chapter 12 is we're drawing upon things you already know. We're just applying them to new situations. Let's take the word davar. What does davar mean? It's word. Okay, good. Now, what I'm going to do here, first of all, is I want us to divide this into syllables, okay? We'll use my red pen for it. Davar. Davar. How many syllables do I have? Two. Is the first or the last syllable stressed? The last. So that's tonic, and this one is pretonic. Good. And then I'm going to want to label this as open or closed. So this last one is what? Open or closed? Closed. Closed. And da is open. Now think about your syllable rules. We have cuss. We have old preacher sermons are long. We have the oops, ras, vocal, shiva rule, which I've simplified as saying open, proprotonic syllables reduced to vocal shiva, right? Cuss, closed, unaccented syllables require short vowel. Old preacher sermons are long. Open, pretonic syllables require long vowel. So, do any of these syllables have any rules here that apply? The first one follows which rule? Yes, old preacher sermons are long. Open pretonic syllables require a long vowel. That's a long kametz, isn't it? Okay. This is closed, but it's not unaccented. The cuss rule has to do with closed and unaccented. This is closed, but it's accented because it's tonic. So this doesn't follow any of the three rules. Now, what's going to happen if I want to say something like the word of David? The word of David. Well, this is the absolute form right now, isn't it? But it's going to have to become the construct to say the word of David. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to slap it up next to thing 2, which is the word David. Okay? Now, let's divide David up real quickly. David. Vid is open or closed. Closed. And is it tonic, pretonic, posttonic? What? Tonic. Good. Da is open and pretonic. Notice, by the way, it's following my old preacher sermons are long rule, isn't it? That's a long A. It requires long. But now that I have these side by side, and this is thing 1 and that's thing 2, what's going to happen to the stress of davar? It's going to surrender its stress to the second member of the construct chain. Now, I'll keep my syllable divisions in thing 2, but it's as if I can put a dividing line here and keep dividing, and I'm going to have one long word because I treat the construct chain as one long word accentually. Is var closed? It is, but is it tonic anymore? No. The absolute's over here, the construct is here, construct has no stress. So this is closed but not tonic, it's what? Propertonic. Tonic, pretonic, propertonic. What rule does a closed and propretonic syllable follow? It's got to follow the cuss rule, because if you're not tonic, you're not stressed, are you? What does Hebrew require of this closed and unaccented syllable? A short vowel. Is this kametz long or short? It's long. So we're going to have to shorten it, aren't we? What does a long A become? It becomes a short A, doesn't it? It's got to become a pathak, right? So we get pathak here. Now, this is no longer open and pretonic. I've got tonic, pretonic, propertonic, propertonic. So this has become open and propertonic. What's going to happen to that vowel? Yes, it will reduce to vocal shiva. And once I reduce it to vocal shiva, would I keep my dividing line here anymore? No, because I don't divide to the left of a vocal shiva, right? So once I've made all of my syllable divisions, if I went back and now redivided, I'd have to get rid of my dividing line now. So I have davar, David, the word of David. Notice my vowel points compared to the absolute over here, right? Absolute was long A, construct, vocal shiva, pathak. When you have a noun in the construct and it has no ending, right? There's 0 ending on davar. You can't go based on the endings. You have to look for clues in the vowel changing. What will be the tendency of vowels when they become construct? It's always to see them reduced somehow. You're going to go from long to short, or you're going to go all the way down to what? You can go all the way down to vocal shava, to the absence of a vowel sound. Okay? You won't see things getting longer when they're in the construct. You'll see them getting shorter or going to nothing, except for one exception, and that was this, where'd it go? It's the segol hay. Remember, segol hay becomes seri hay, right? You see the segol becoming a seri in the construct. But that also is not very frequent, which is why in most classes when I've taught this in the past, I don't even talk about that. Okay, so you see how that works. This encapsulates number 1 and number 2 in Ross on page 101. Kametz, and the final closed syllable reduces to pathak. That's what we had. This was closed and final. The kametz became a pathak. You don't need to memorize that, though. All you need to know is that this has to follow the cusp rule when it loses its stress, right? It becomes closed and unaccented. It needs to go to whatever the short version is of the long vowel that's there. If it's already short, then I don't have to change it. It stays short if it's unstressed and closed. Okay? And then number 2 was unstressed kametz or seri reduces to shava. You don't even need to memorize that. You just know that when a syllable becomes open and propertonic, if it can reduce, what will it do? It'll go to vocal shava. Okay? You already know that too. All right. So let's do another example just for fun, shall we? Yeah, we're all about fun, aren't we? Okay. So, na. Let me erase that. That doesn't look very much like a noon. Navi. What is a Navi? It's a prophet. Okay? Notice that I've got 2 syllables here. This is tonic and this is pretonic. It's open. It needs what kind of a vowel? Open pretonic syllables. All preacher sermons are long. Open pretonic syllables require a long vowel. Is that long? Yippee-yi-yay. It follows the rule. But if I want to say the prophet of Baal, the Canaanite deity, and if I want to make this a construct chain, where's my stress going to go? Is it going to stay on V, on Navi? Nope. It's going to surrender its stress because it's now got to be put in the construct state. The absolute is thing 2. It's what keeps the stress. So I'm going to surrender my stress. Where's the tone here on Baal? It's on Ba. The all is what? Post-tonic, right? It's after the tonic syllable. The V is now I have tonic. This is pretonic. And the na is propertonic. So, what's going to happen here? This is pretonic, but it doesn't matter. Kyrikyod is historically long, and so even if I wanted to change my vowel, I couldn't do it because these are unchangeable. But the na of Navi becomes open and propertonic. What does Hebrew do to that? Reduces it to vocal shava. So this is going to become what? Navi. Navi. So let's write Navi out here and compare it to Navi. This is prophet in the absolute. This is the prophet of in the construct. Navi. Navi, Navi. Navi, Navi. What's happened? I had vowel reduction. Does Navi have an ending? The answer is no. So there's no ending to change. I don't have a changed ending, but I have changed vowels. That tells me it's construct, and I need to treat this whole thing as one accentual unit and translate it as one unit in my translation. The prophet of Baal. The prophet of Baal. Okay? Any questions about this? Yes.
You had a construct that ended with a vowel and then a dagesh lene in the start of the absolute. Would it go away since you're considering it as like one?
Yes, that is actually true. And you know what? This aleph in closing position actually would quiesce, and you wouldn't pronounce it, so you'd actually have a kyrikyod before this, and yeah, the dagesh lene actually would go away. So, good observation. Okay, number 3. Number 3 on Ross page 101 is also an exceptionally rare situation. So I don't really want you to focus on it. It's here, I guess, for full disclosure. But on a word like Zakain, which we learned was elder or old person, you could see this put in a construct chain as well. Zakain would be elder in the absolute. And if I said something like the elder of the city, Zakain ha'ir, this is now going to lose its stress. The accent is on ear. Pretonic is ha. Propertonic is kain. And za is propertonic. It's open and this one's closed, right? So if the kain here is closed and unaccented, what does it need to be? Long or short? It's got to be short. Is serre long or short? It's long, okay? So what would you expect a serre to become here? It could be a segol or a kirik because that's the short I-class vowel and serre is the long I-class vowel. But what it in fact becomes is what? It becomes pathak, okay? Again, this is uncommon, very uncommon. Open propertonic syllables, what do those like to do in Hebrew? Reduce to a vocal shava. So the za of zakan now becomes vocal shava. So this is what you get. Still, you see reduced voweling. Zakain became zakan. Vocal shava where I had a long A, short pathak where I had a serre, which is long. Okay? So, number 3, you can just put a little asterisk next to it and just make a note, not important, because it really isn't. You're not going to see this very often. But I did want to mention it since the book does. I won't put this on your quiz, I don't think.